And we, the traders, because a number of Ugandans have higher potential buying power, you find that consumption of some of these goods is something that they will easily consume going forward. So you, as a trader today, speaking to your customer, and the customer of tomorrow, once he's benefited from oil and gas, is that the negotiation, the high purchasing power from this retail customer is something that will probably be an easy journey for you.
And now, lastly, if for a viewer, there are some of your last, let's say, remarks and keynotes that you can give to a viewer out there. One regarding to banking, regarding to stock, and then also getting to understand, let's say, investment generally, and maybe the oil and gas sector.
Okay. To our viewers out there, investment is not limited to a few. All of us can invest in the capital markets. The couple of products, e.g. that you just mentioned, one is you can become a shareholder in some of the companies listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange. You can also invest in unit trusts. That these are united assets that pay you a daily return based on your risk appetite. Away from that also is just to say for the companies that are looking for capital, again, there's cheaper capital for you in the capital markets. So take up this advantage and the opportunity. Just make sure you meet the prerequisite requirements, and you shall benefit. We will all benefit out of this opportunity. Thank you.
And that is JORAM ONGURUA, the CEO, Sbg Securities, the namesake in there as well, taking us through what has been happening from day one of the annual oil and gas conversion here at the Kampala Serena Hotel. Quite a number of things have been highlighted as well. When you look at the fact that Eli Karuhanga, who is the chairman board, Private Sector Foundation, also mentioned on the fact that Ugandans should change their attitude towards the oil and gas sector, because it is a sector that can benefit generally everybody, not only the Ugandans but the entire African continent. And also looking at the fact that a number of key stakeholders have been here encouraging Ugandans to take a look at the opportunities so that they can easily tap into them. Thank you very much.
All right, so I think you've got to understand what it means for a banking institution to be part of these particular conversations and discussions of oil and gas. They're coming in as financial advisors, not only financial advisors, but they're going to be tipping on the SMEs, the suppliers, the traders, on the possible investment ventures, more so for the beneficiaries of oil and gas. There are people who will be making a lot of money out of the oil and gas, but how can they be advised on how to invest favorably? That is how the banking institutions are coming in. That is why the security companies, the securities companies will come in and definitely to help people get to understand.
Even the security companies which were showcasing, because first of all, as even you take contracts on, you need a security to safeguard your homestead or security to safeguard your houses. So there are security companies as well who were showcasing. For example, if you get a contract there, especially those in constructions, that means on your construction facility or farm, you're going to need someone who is going to guard those premises. And therefore, you don't need to hire someone else or in that very locality, because you're dealing with a very special entity and sector here that everyone is looking at. So you definitely don't want to lose, or you don't want to settle for losses. In the regard, you may lose something. So why don't you go for professional companies or those entities that are there to help in that kind of, perspective? So which is why everyone I'm telling you was there, even the security guards. So for those who want security guards, you can go blah blah here, or making deals. I can offer you these particular people for this kind of percentage in this time and time. In case something happens of this kind, this is how we can resettle that. So those are some of the deals on how they were being, broken around or sealed 2 days back.
Well, and I think, like Rita said, they are key stakeholders. Even you can be a stakeholder. And most of them were there because the big boys and the big players were all available during the 2-day conversion. Therefore, most of the people were making agreements, people were making deals, sealing off, sharing contacts, so that once something erupts, you don't miss out.
But so, the truth still remains, because I don't want to speculate on all this, that oil and gas and everyone is going to be a beneficiary. Yes, everyone is going to be.
He has actually also
end,
highlighted that not everyone will be.
Yes, not everyone. Not all of us are going to benefit directly. You know, this goes to the tier 1 and 2. The indirect and direct, employment and beneficiaries here. Yes, some people are going to directly tap into this opportunity, whereas others are going to be indirect beneficiaries. But there are those who are outside of the two categories. Not until 2025, when we anticipate the first drop of oil. Thereafter is when at least we are sure that every Ugandan, every person under the Ugandan, soils will be benefiting from the oil and gas sector. How? Because we're going to see the fuel prices going very down. If we start having the end product, that is when you're going to be now benefiting directly or indirectly here. But for now, not everyone is going to be benefiting. But this does not limit your goal, your reach, if you want to make sure you benefit. Because otherwise,
but that's it with the
communication is always there to everyone.
I believe that is it with the competitive world.
Yes, if you want something, you can migrate from Karamoja, where you are right now,
exactly, and
go to the nearby places to make sure you tap into these opportunities. So it depends on your willingness to make sure you're part of the oil and gas activities.
And surely in a competitive world, a world filled with innovation, I think everyone has ideas. Everyone comes up with a more spectacular innovation or a more skillful way to utilize the opportunity. So if at all you're not up there, you may find out that the big, let's say those with the connections, the most relevant connections, those who are having the effective connections, I'm getting these words right, effective, relevant.
And what you're saying is actually right.
Because I don't want to rule out the word connections in this day and age.
I saw it yesterday and the day before. Because everyone wanted to prove what they can.
Exactly.
So you find someone is just up and down, running to one person to the other.
To my shock, actually, you would find out somewhere, you would notice a face that you would not expect. Because I apparently got to see a number of movie actors there. And in my mind, I was like, okay, it's time for opportunities. If there is an opportunity.
Because everyone was there under individual capacity, under a company, a representation.
Everyone wanted to take part, to hear these conversations.
For example, if you talk about the movie, very well, everyone who wouldn't want to script or who wouldn't want to...
the journey of oil and gas in Uganda.
Script that and maybe be a part of those premises.
Or even being a content creator for once the oil and gas has started. So clearly there are a lot of opportunities, vast opportunities, however limited they are there and available.
It depends on how you pitch now. Exactly. When it comes to the big, the big plates that we're speaking about, if you want to be a part of, the big plates, we're talking about subcontracting works that are taking place in Tilinga and Kingfisher projects in the Kabale Industrial Park. You need to have a great pitching piece, I tell you. Because at the end of the day, even when you don't have something, Joram, but your pitch makes sense to someone, you can get a job and then you can settle other things that matter away from that particular environment. Because if I come and tell you my theoretical part very well and it takes you, Joram, you're going to offer me the advantage to take on what you have, the opportunity. But I might tell you that, but at the back of my mind, I know, I don't have the raw material. I don't even have anywhere to begin from. But the moment you put me on your database, the moment you put me on your space, I'm going to make sure I look for Amriat, who is good at raw material. I'm going to incorporate Shakira on to make sure she supplies what I am lacking. So you see, it all comes with pitching and exemplarity and how you approach these entities there. But not forgetting the key one, legalities. Because if you do not know what entails in regards to legalities, we mean law and regulations, because it's a huge one. At least you need to understand where your profits are, under what contract basis are you going to be undertaken on. Because if you do not understand that, it's going to be a disadvantage for you. You may likely to have a misconception there, or misleading information. So which is why they're advising you as well to hire someone who can do it better for you in case you do not know that. Away from that, what is in online stories, or what is happening, Joram, online?
And now let's try to look at what is coming in from the press review, understanding some of the business stories making headlines in there from Uganda as well, probably. So when you look at what is actually coming up here, there is something that is which is coming in from the Karuma hydropower dam, whereby the contractor has actually set the Karuma hydropower dam, the country's flagship power project, now has all identified deficits fixed, but is likely to miss the June 2022 target date for commissioning. So it was supposed to be commissioned this year. That means it
that
will
brings
start
a smell
officially.
to me. Do you know why?
Why?
It takes like another 4 years now.
For it. No, it may,
For
it
not
may happen next
commissioning.
year.
For not
It may happen
commissioning.
next year. Or it may start officially, and then the commissioning happens after a while, but when it has started full functioning. But it had to actually go through identification of the deficits, and the executives at the state-run Uganda Electricity Generation Company Limited said concerns related to poor cabling and non-conformity of standard of some materials have been fixed. And the Uganda Electricity Generation Company Limited Chief Executive Officer Harrison Mutikanga said during the dam's routine inspection on April 1st that good progress had been recorded and is now awaiting the contractor, who is Sino Hydro Corporation, to come up with a new commissioning plan on when the president will have to commission this particular dam. Mutikanga added that the dam's construction agreement allows for renegotiation and rescheduling to ensure that the work meets international standards, not to just officially open something that is not ready, fit for the international market and international standards. Karuma Hydro Power Dam's construction started in 2013 and was initially planned for commissioning in December 2019. Now I think this adds up to why Rita is saying that it may take more years without commissioning, because it was supposed to be commissioned in 2019 but missed the target date, and an extension of 12 months was granted. Still we had to miss that date because of COVID, I guess.
We have missed the date that
now,
was
2
still
years
anticipated.
We've missed another date, so we'll have to wait for further communication from the contractor, because the contractor failed to meet the December 2020 deadline after there were concerns raised. But then this compelled the regulators in Uganda to grant the contractor another extension to June 2022. But the ravaging coronavirus at the time saw the majority of the Chinese staff return back to China. So that means it is again another set target date for commissioning.
So you realize this is again giving us setbacks on our activities as a country. When do we have to tolerate? Because the issue here is toleration of delays. Because I remember in 2019 there was money that was sent back to the treasury because of the Karuma delays, and now when it got back and they revamped all those participation and activities, and we had hopes because they anticipated there were 2022 we were going to be commissioning it. And now we see it is being pushed for another maybe coming year. But when do we have to tolerate and not tolerate at some point? Because it goes back to the authorities. If a contractor realizes you're such tolerant about anything that they will tell you. Even next time, if the contractor is given something to do in that particular regard, they're going to take it maybe not quite serious at some point. However, even though I'm not denying that there are external factors here and there, suppliers delaying, COVID and all that, but when do we plan not to have such shortfalls?
And very, very rightful. But still on the matter of oil and gas, we're coming up after the break with key discussion, and we're going to be trying to understand how the health sector is going to benefit from the oil and gas, and vis-a-vis oil and gas benefiting from the health sector. That is a conversation that we're going to be having with a guest in studio after the break. Keep it SMB.